speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Who you with, Kirk? I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. I'm 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 who you with, Kirk, dog. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, dog. I'm who you with, Kirk, dog. Want to welcome everyone to the show tonight. I know we are on a little bit late tonight. Was doing some deep research. As you can see in the title, Reverend Jesse Jackson, Reverend Dr. William J. Barber II, and my pastor, Reverend Dr. Fredrick D Haynes III, was among some of the ones that was arrested today while protesting in Washington. And I believe the last count I seen was over 200 people was arrested. I've seen numbers from 100 to 204. So here it is, doing something good for the people, get you arrested. Yeah. Welcome to the show, T-Cal. Thank you for always tuning in. Thank you for staying up late tonight. Said, hey, Kurt, dog, glad I didn't miss you tonight. I'm ready to listen and chat. So tonight, we're going to open the phone lines up because I want to know y'all opinion about this story because here it is, some true leaders that is out fighting for the people getting arrested. I want to know your opinion about it, how you feel about it. I have one story that is already up, and I'll read through it and let me know how you feel. I would say the Reverend Jesse Jackson was among more than 200 people arrested in Washington, D.C. by Capitol Police on Monday while protesting. This is the latest arrest of several this year for Jackson, who joined on Monday other protesters from Poor People Campaign March outside Union Station in D.C. in support of, I'm sorry, I can barely hear myself. I want to make sure y'all can hear me. In support of the Democrat sweeping election reform bill. Also in the protest were Lucy and Linda Johnson, the daughter of President Lyndon B. Johnson. Last week, Jackson was one of 39 people arrested for refusing to leave Arizona Senate Kristen Sinema office in Phoenix, where they were protesting the Senate support for the filibuster. The Reverend and civil rights activist claimed the nation is in a civilization crisis with drawn battle lines while calling on other activists to fight nonviolently for their rights, remarking the power in you, the people. Protesters marched to Senate office, chatting to end the filibuster, the historic procedure measure that is used to kill bills by preventing a vote, which the Democrats used over 300 times in 2020. Um, Additionally, the civil rights activist was arrested alongside Bishop William Barber II in June for a similar protest outside the U.S. Capitol against the filibuster and GOP opposition to a minimum wage hike. Senator and her colleague, Senator Joe McChin, DWV, have come under serious fire from progressive looking to nix the Senate tradition, but both have stood by the filibuster. Congressional Democrats and progressive group have taken aim at the filibuster as they push for the Democrat controversial voting legislation. Um, that's just one other story, but basically, they're on the front line fighting. On the front line fighting because why the Voting Rights Act? We talked about this quite a bit on the show, have talked about it a lot. We know here in Texas, Greg Abbott um, trying to do everything he can to change the voting rights. That's the reason why last month the Democrats that represent Texas left Texas to prevent them from voting to change the Voting Rights Act. That should not be a discussion in 2021, but here it is. We're still having to fight as if this is something new. Because the thing is, we need leaders in the position that is going to be fair across the board. And unfortunately, the leaders that we have now, like I say all the time, they only for a certain group of people. Yeah, they want it to be harder for us to vote. Then we have um, also the filibuster. Yeah, they want to do that to prevent votes from happening. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Why? Now, also the minimum wage. How can people honestly make a living, especially here in Texas when the minimum wage is what, 7.25? How can they get ahead? Because basically what's going to happen, you work 40 hours or more than 40 hours, you got 7.25. What's that? Um, just 40 hours to 7 is 280, so you're looking at less than $300 a week. Now, everything keep going up, food keep going up, supplies keep going up, rent keep going up. How can a person survive on that? But they have an issue with raising the minimum wage. Now that it's a shortage of workers, all these places had the ass up. Oh, I think my wife and I seen a sign that McDonald's offering a $500 sign-on bonus. All these years, they finally raised their minimum wage. So the thing is, why not raise it to make it equal for everything else? Everything is going up except the minimum wage. The pay is not going up fast enough. And as long as you continue to have the minimum wage at a low end and these companies keep paying these folks this minimum wage, is always going to be poverty. Always. Now, some people say, well, it's their choice if they want to take a job like that. But unfortunately, everybody's situation is not the same. Now, I only talked about food, supplies, everyday living supplies. Now, let's look at it like this. If they have a car, you got to put gas in it. You have to do maintenance with it. You also have to buy insurance. And please don't have a car note. 725 not going to get it. So yes, at least give the people a chance to make a good living. 725 is not going to do it. But then again, most apartment complex, I haven't stayed in one in years, but I believe the last time I stayed in one, a lot of them start charging water in an apartment complex. So you have water, lights, you're gonna have to have a phone. Because if you want a job, they got to get in contact with you somehow. So the thing is, yes, it's nerve wracking how these lawmakers refuse to make a change. That's the reason why we need to change them. We need to send them a message to let them know that, hey, we tired of this. We're tired of um, folks struggling like this. People having to work 2, 3 jobs just to make ends meet. Give everybody that opportunity. I know some people going to say, well, it depends on their background, their education. No, it's people out here with degrees that cannot get jobs in their field that they went to school to pay all this money for. So no, it's not their background. It's people out here with degrees that cannot make the type of living they should be making. So don't say that. Look at the whole big picture. Maybe you one of the ones that are blessed and don't have to worry about those type of situation. But you probably know somebody who's dealing with it. Take a stand for them because there's a lot of people out here that are struggling. You know that they're struggling. Matter of fact, when a person call you that is struggling, you probably looking at your phone and saying, hey, I don't want to answer that. They may want something. So the thing is, you know people that are struggling, at least take a stand for that and vote these piece of leaders out of office and let them know we're not going for this anymore. We're tired of this. Allow it to be where it's equal across the board. That's a shame that we still having to fight the same thing as if this just coming up. This been going on for years, all because of a group of people that is in charge that don't want no one else to have that same opportunity like them. And that's pitiful. So since they don't want you to have that same opportunity, vote them out. Vote them out. There's no other way of saying it. Ain't no other way of doing it. Get them out of office. That's how you do it. Because this is crazy that we're still having to fight the same fight that we did back, well, that some of our leaders done back in the 60s. And some of our ancestors have done way before then, back in the slavery days. And let me say this, for the person that left a message talking about go cry you a river because slavery is over, well, guess what? Apparently you might learn something because you keep coming back. Slavery is part of America history, and it never should have happened. But because a certain group of greedy folks, they they want to continue to do it. So yeah, it is a part of it, and I will continue to talk about it until changes come. Because what our leaders are doing today are modern day slavery. You don't want no one to do good. You want to keep a hold on them instead of giving them that opportunity to better themselves. So yeah, I will talk about it. It's part of our history. That's why we have a fool down in Austin that don't want to talk about the real history of America. And it's time for him to go. Definitely time for him to go. Um, you could call in tonight, 972 Um, TCal said more people live check to check, and one bad day or sickness can cost a person everything. Yes, and then on top of this, they if they didn't even pass a bill to prevent the eviction. As we getting ready to head into another lockdown, and people is already behind on their rent, and they couldn't even pass a bill to prevent people from getting put out of their homes. Bill expired on Saturday. They couldn't do it. How can you not do it? So apparently you're not for the people. You for yourself. That's why we need to change our leaders. Because there's no way, million. I think they said it's like uh 3 million people or something that is facing eviction. Don't quote me on those numbers, but I believe I heard 3 million nationwide. So you're telling me 300 people facing eviction, and y'all cannot come together to pass a bill to keep them from losing their homes as our numbers continue to go up and the chance of another lockdown is coming up because the numbers continue to go up regardless of what they're saying. You got to research because some people don't want you to know the true numbers of how this virus is really affecting people. The numbers are continue to go up, and we have people like Greg Abbott don't want to change the mandate. Oh no, kids don't need to wear masks. It's not mandatory for them to wear masks at school. That's why you got to teach your kids the right things to do, regardless of what Greg Abbott doing. Because guess what? If God forbid and your child get COVID, Greg Abbott don't care about that bill. It don't affect him. That's on you. Teach your kids the right things to do. I'm sorry, Marcellus. I overlook your. I put it up, but I didn't say anything. Welcome to the show, Marcellus said. What's up? I'm here. It's the People Show. Thank you for always supporting the show. Thank you for always tuning in. I appreciate you. But this right here, um, where our civil rights leaders have been arrested. Now, take it. Um, I believe it was the Poor People Campaign that just left Austin this weekend, that marched from Georgetown to Austin, and then they flew to DC yesterday to continue this campaign because some people don't realize that they're poor. They don't realize they are poor. They may feel like they living their best life, but when you look at it, you struggling. When it come down to the fact, you don't know where your next meal coming from. Are you sitting in the dark because your lights off, having to run a extension cord from your neighbor house? That should encourage you to get out, get registered to vote, and vote to change the leadership that we have, because the majority of this leadership that we currently have is weak. It's all about them. They don't care about you. It shouldn't be that hard to change these things. Now I say on the show all the time, yeah, it's one thing to go out and march, but we also need to have action with it. What action do we need? We need to get out and vote, for the simple fact, while you just marching and protesting, they're going to look at you. But if we do the same thing going to the polls, they're going to pay attention to you. They're going to start listening to you because they know we have the power in our hands. But we got to get up and go to the polls and vote. And that's what a lot of us don't want to do. I vote every election. And you should too. I don't care if they voting on a dog park. I'm going to vote. It doesn't make a difference. Let your voice be heard. Yeah, you may not be able to make it to Washington
or wherever the protest is going. But when you go to the polls, you can actually go and speak loud by filling in that little bubble, letting them know, I'm tired. I'm tired. These past runoffs we had a couple of months ago never should have happened, because a lot of people feel like our local election is not important. It is. Our local election affect our federal election, because the thing is, our laws are based upon our local laws. That's what you have to look at. It influenced the federal laws. The ones up in Washington is going to go by with what's going on in your city, your town, your state. That's what they're going to look at to make laws for you. But if you don't get out and vote, you have nothing to say. Now, the thing is, minimum wage should be higher. Should be higher. Texas have one of the lowest minimum wage uh, nationwide. Why? They say everything is bigger in Texas, but I guess when it comes down to minimum wage, it's not. They don't want that to be big. They don't want people to make a fair living or a decent living, because even $15 is okay. It can help a lot of people out, because that basically can double what they've been making. And then they don't have to work uh, partially paycheck to paycheck. They can live in a nice community and don't have to live in a low income housing all the time. So yeah, everybody need to get out and vote. Exercise your right to vote, and not only get out and vote, but when you get the flip, because once you get registered and you vote, you will get the flip for jury duty. That's your civic duty. Go do it. Like last night, we talked about the brother that spent 34 years in jail for a murder he did not commit. And the proof was right there in his file the whole time. 34 years in jail. But if you start sitting on that jury duty, instead of letting someone else sit on there, that only going to judge him by the color of his skin, not going to pay attention to the evidence, you can make a difference. You can prevent an innocent person from going to jail. But you have to be committed to sit on that jury duty. And that's what a lot of people not willing to do. Yeah, I know they don't pay much, $6 for the whole day. But still, I don't look at the $6. I look at the fact I'm feeling my civic duty. Now, some people may say, well, I got in trouble back in the days and I'm an ex-felon. Okay, that's fine. If you are off papers, you paid all your dues. In most states, you can get your voting rights back. Go to vote.org and they can tell you within seconds. Within seconds, it can let you know if you could get your voting rights back. It don't cost you nothing to find that out. And if you're able to get your voting rights back, guess what? Go ahead and register to vote. I went on there when I first heard about it, went on there. I put all type of things just to see. And it still said I'm able to get my voting rights back. I did it for Texas, but As long as I wasn't on papers and I paid all my dues, I would have been able to get them back. So don't be afraid. Don't let somebody tell you you don't have no rights. Get out and vote. For we can stop having these type of protests where we can put people in a position that they're gonna go in there and do the right thing and not just what as seen earlier, one Senate came out and said some of these folks don't even read the bills that they going in signing. They just sign the bill and get it off. Matter of fact, during the election several months back, I believe it was Miss Ward that said uh, her opponent would just sign the bill, didn't even read it. Whatever bill they put in front of her, she just signed it, did not read it. We don't need people like that. We need somebody who's going to go up there and fight for the people, for all the people, for every last one of us, whoever they representing, that's who they need to go in there and fight for. Because this right here is sickening. When I heard the story earlier, I'm like, okay, they getting arrested for a peaceful protest. A peaceful protest. And it was I don't think it was at Capitol Hill, but I think one article said it was down the street from Capitol Hill. A peaceful protest. Now they knew all along this was going to happen. They knew it was going to be a protest. A peaceful protest. And we've seen this many of times over the last several months and years where people go to the Capitol and protest, and what? They're arrested on the spot. A peaceful protest. Arrested. A peaceful protest. Trying to let that sink in for a minute, because according to January 6th, the attack on Capitol Hill, they knew that was not a peaceful protest. But they was able to make it all the way up the steps inside of Capitol Hill and destroy Capitol Hill, trying to overthrow our governor, our government. And this was a peaceful protest with a purpose. A peaceful protest with a purpose. A purpose that's going to benefit each and last every one of us. But on January 6th, it was a protest to overthrow our governor, our government. And people say it was my rights. I'm trying to understand the two. Which one is more of a threat? A rowdy protest or a peaceful protest? Or maybe it was the color of the skin, the majority of the people that was out there. Because on January 6th, majority of them was Caucasian, and the ones today, majority of them was black. January 6th, they come in, attack police officers, destroying property, and they still trying to round folks up today. Out of all those people out there, only 500, I think it's like 552 been arrested or something, a little bit over 500 been arrested. But here it is, a peaceful protest where over 200 people been arrested. Help me to understand this. You have a peaceful protest where 200 people get arrested, and you have a mob protest, terrorist attack, domestic terrorist attackers, destroying property, and assaulting police officers. And now they're getting a slap on the wrist. Some of them been released out of jail with no bond, able to go out of the country, able to take family trips. But we're talking about a peaceful protest where over 200 people was arrested the same day it happened. So you're telling me almost in over what, 9 months, the same ones that attacked Capitol Hill, they have a little bit over half of those people arrested today that was doing uh, a nonviolent protest, a peaceful protest. Help me to understand that, because you're telling me a peaceful protest is worse than a mob, a terrorist attack. And this protest is to benefit the people of America. The filibuster, federal minimum wage, voting rights, poor people campaign rally. That is peaceful. But at the same time, you have a domestic terrorist that take place near the same place. And what, I think it was just a handful of folks arrested January 6th. And now they trying to find thousands more. So far, they only have 500 or something arrested. But at a peaceful protest, they arrest over 200. And people say it's not an issue with black laws and white laws. Yeah, it is an issue. If you open your eyes, that's the issue right there. For the simple fact, why that many wasn't arrested January 6th? Why it was only a portion of them arrested January 6th? But we're talking about a peaceful protest. Over 200 people arrested. I'm just trying to understand it. Maybe y'all can help me understand it, because my calculation, it just don't add up right. It don't add up right at all. And here it is. August 2nd, 2021. Over 200 people arrested during a peaceful protest near the Capitol. Not on Capitol ground, near the Capitol. January 6th. Thousands rush into the Capitol. But only a handful was arrested. And so far to date, they only have arrested a little bit over 500. But they knew what type of crowd was going to be there. Just like they knew what type of crowd was going to be there today. But then last year, I believe it was a year ago this month, when BLM had a peaceful protest. See, it's something about that name of peaceful protest, because when it's peaceful, it never ends good. So, a peaceful protest last year near the same area passing by Capitol Hill, they had National Guard, Capitol Police, any police force that was available lined up on the steps of Capitol Hill to prevent anybody from coming up there. It's just something crazy when it's a peaceful protest, all the resources available. All the resources available. But when you have a clown that was in office encouraging these folks to go and do stuff like this, and you couldn't find them. You couldn't find them. Couldn't get no help. Even the officer, when he testified, um, I believe it was last week, he said then, when there was a Black Lives Matter protest, a peaceful protest, we had National Guard, Capitol Police, any source that we needed lined up on the steps. But January 6th, we didn't have no backup. No backup at all. That's a problem. That's a problem. And some people don't understand the fact when it's something dealing with peaceful, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a protest of people that look like me. And they always going to find something bad out of it. But today, nah. They doing a peaceful protest for the Poor People Campaign. Key word, Poor People Campaign. A lot of people are struggling. But here it is, they fighting to help everybody out. Trying to get the minimum wage increase. That would help a lot of people come out of poverty, or at least partially out. Trying to get the filibuster going. Fighting for voting rights. Just to name a few. But that was peaceful. And it's for a good cause. Guess that would be good trouble. That was for good trouble. But at the same time, the difference between the two, when it's a peaceful protest, they're going to do everything they have to do to make it look bad. Wasn't nobody arguing with the police. When they told them they was under arrest, they put their hands out. They didn't resist. But over 200 people was arrested. But when an angry mob, a domestic terrorist mob, come to Capitol Hill after being encouraged of a poor leader to say we're going to force them from certifying the vote. You're going to force our government from certifying the vote. No, I seen something really crazy today. I didn't get a chance to look at Twitter much till uh, this evening. Um, but I seen something trending, and I should have got the brother name that actually responded on Twitter. They impeached Joe Biden is trending on Twitter. Impeach Joe Biden trending on Twitter. But here's the thing. The one whoever started it, and the guy gave a great response to that. I believe in, I'm gonna try to remember exactly what it said word for word. It said, Trumpers, before you can impeach President Joe Biden, you have to acknowledge him as president. Some people still don't not acknowledge President Joe Biden as president. But you want to go on Twitter and cause a trend in status, impeach Joe Biden. And some of y'all Trump supporters still believe Trump coming back into office in August. Get over it. Trump is done. Trump is up out of here. He's not coming back. Don't believe the hype. Please don't, because he's not coming back. He's a done deal. Matter of fact, and this just came across my phone, and I'm gonna glance over it first. Uh, da, da, da. Okay, well, this came from Forbes. Uh, Trump's shifted donor money into his business after leaving the White House. Donald Trump never gave a penny to his 2020 presidential campaign, but lots of other people donated. Even after Trump left the White House in January, the next month, his campaign committee filed a document showing it had changed its name to Make America Great Again PAC. And, and while his supporter kept chipping into the pot, Trump kept taking money out of it, using his business to charge the group for rent. In this way, the former president shifted $203,000 from the political donor to his private business after leaving the White House, according to analyses of the latest federal filing. Yeah. So all you Trump supporters that's donating to him, y'all trying to pay that $1 billion debt off for him. That's basically what's going on, because he's taking that money and using it for whatever he wants to. And according to this, they said that uh, in addition, Trump set up a so-called leadership PAC, a type of fundraising community that a politician often use to support candidate named Save America. In December 2020, one of Trump old communities, which gathered money on behalf of both the Trump campaign and the Republican National Committee, transferred $30 million of seed money to Save America. The group raised more from Trump supporters across the country, building up a war chest of 90 million by the end of June. For his part, the former president also drew money from that pot, using his hotel empire to charge Save America another $79,000 after leaving office, according to analysts. None of this cash should mean much to the former president, whose business would likely generate well over 450 million in revenue this year. Nonetheless, the Trump organization continued to engage with Trump political committee on January 21st, the day after his presidential end. The Trump organization charged Trump old campaign committee $38,000 in rent, collecting the money via Trump Tower Commercial LLC. Um, then through which Trump maintained a 100% interest in his Fifth Avenue skyscraper. Trump famously ran his 2016 campaign out of the office in the building. His 2020 effort operated partially out of the DC area, but it kept paying rent to Trump Tower anyway. I told y'all Trump is a crook. Keep donating to him. And it's all type of breakdowns of additional rent um, for what a separate company named Trump Restaurant LLC has been collecting additional rent for what may be a kiosk in the lower level of Trump Tower. Tourists and Trump fans once parting through the atrium of the building, but by mid-2020, with the coronavirus raging, there weren't many visitors anymore. The $3,000 monthly payment continued anyway. They didn't stop in November 2020 when the campaign ended, nor in January 2021 when Trump left the presidency. Instead, from January to June, Trump old campaign committee paid Trump Restaurant LLC $15,000. According to federal filing, the remaining of the money flowed from Save America, Trump Leadership PAC, to an entity named the Trump Hotel Collection. The Leadership PAC paid $19,000 for lodging and meals on March 5th, $11,000 on April 21st, and $35,000 on May 12th, mixing in smaller expense along the way. In total, Save America paid the Trump Hotel Collection $79,000 after the former president left the White House, according to reviews. Related committee tossed in additional sums. One of the Trump campaign old joint fundraising vehicle paid $2,200 to the Trump Hotel Collection on February the 5th. A political action committee called the Trump Graham Majority Fund, which raised money for Save America, as well as Senate Lindsey Graham, who have now tested positive for COVID, and a couple of other groups paid the same business $22,000 for facility rental and catering service on June 3rd. Y'all keep on following that man. Y'all will be broke. Y'all will be thankful that we have Reverend Jesse Jackson, Reverend Dr. William Barr the third, and Reverend Fredrick D the second. I'm sorry, and Reverend Dr. Reverend Fredrick D Haynes III out here protesting a good fight, because you keep on following behind him, you will reap the benefit of the fight that these three pastors, preachers are putting on, and the many other protests that are going around this country, country to fight for us. So what we need to do is rally behind them, keep them lifted up in our prayers, and also get out and vote. Get out and vote, because we also need to make sure we send our leaders a message to let them know we're tired of this. We're not going to deal with it no more. If you're not for the people, you don't need to represent the people. And other than that, I'm up out of here. Y'all have a good night. See y'all tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time.